Hello world and all my friends and subscribers out there. So this is the 7th part of my series on painting miniatures with regular acrylic paints. So in this part I'm going to be talking about how I use metallic paints to paint miniatures. So as you can see here, I'm starting with just the 3 colours of, I've got Reeves Silver, Reeves Bronze and Mars Black. Now Reeves makes excellent metallic paint, fantastic. The metallic particles are really fine, and it just looks fantastic once it's finished. So you'll be able to see here how silver it is as I'm putting it out, and so that's why I use black. I use the black to tone it down, so it's kind of like, I guess, getting a pre-mixed paint like a gunmetal or something like that. So I mix in the black just a little bit at a time, just until I get the right colour, which is like a dull silver colour. And the black doesn't tone down the metallics too much. It just kind of, stops it from being too bright. So metallic acrylics tend to be quite thick just because they have not only the acrylic medium, but they also have the metallic particles in there, which obviously, they're just a lot because they've got so much in there. So I do have to water down these paints quite considerably. You can see how thick they are. There I'm just adding some water as I've got to the right colour that I want with the black. And I'm just checking to see how thick it is still. And probably, I think that'll be fine to go ahead and paint. Now, the same thing applies with metallics as it does to regular acrylic paints. If you test it out in your mini and you can still see your brush strokes as little ridges, then you know you need to thin your paint out a little bit more. And it's especially that way with the metallics because they are so thick. So now I'm going to start applying it to my mini, and you'll see how thin my paint is here when I start applying it. And so it's going to flow into kind of all the areas I want it to go into, all those little cracks and crevices in that chainmail. And by the way, I just love this chainmail. Love it. Looks amazing. The detail's fantastic on this model. So I might show you me painting this entire model with this first coat, but I will show you me finishing off this part of the chainmail, and then I'm going to show you a flat surface, which would be his axe, and just to see what it actually looks like. It's a little bit more difficult to paint flat surfaces, just like it is with any technique, I guess. It's very hard to get a smooth transition across the whole flat surface. But the way I use these paints is I will, if I'm going to be putting a wash over the top, I tend to only maybe do 2 coats of metallic, because then you won't be able to see the patchiness too much through it. So as you can see here where I'm applying it, the coverage isn't great just because I've had to thin it down considerably, and that means it looks quite streaky. But you can also see, hopefully you can see, just the quality of the paint and the particle size of the metallic that's in the paint is really good. I've got some acrylic metallic inks, and they're nowhere near as good as these paints. I haven't tried out Liquitex's metallic acrylics, and I would like to give that a go. But at the moment, I got a set of 3, and gold. No, actually 4. I got gold and copper as well as silver and bronze. And these tiny tubes, and they're just lasting me forever. Really, really good little deal. So if you can find them, I highly suggest it. And as you can see here, I'm going over his axe with a second layer of metallics. And it's a little less streaky this time. I'm just cleaning up some that I got on his axe handle by accident. Yeah, if you wanted a really, really smooth surface, I would suggest, if you wanted it to be quite a bright silver, I would definitely suggest going over at least maybe 4 coats. But I'm going to be, like I said, putting a black wash over the top, so I'm not too worried, because that'll kind of even it out quite a bit. So next I'm going to be mixing up my bronze colour, and I'm just basically going to use the same approach, and as you can see on my palette, that bronze colour is just beautiful. I love it. It's so gorgeous. And when you mix the black in with it, it just gets even better. You could use a kind of like a dark brown to do the same thing with the bronze, but it works fine with black, so I just use black. I do use a brown wash over my golds and bronzes, just because it kind of works in a bit better with those colours. So you can really see how thick the acrylic paint is here. And you can also see how lovely the metallic is. It's kind of like, from what I can see of I think it's Vallejo metallics, kind of have the same look to them to me. I haven't actually seen them in person, but on video they kind of look the same. There's like a really nice metallic look, no big particles. Big particles really bug me, so these paints are really good. So I'm just testing my colour, and I think I've got the right consistency now. So I just treat my metallics the same regardless of what colour, and I'm probably going to apply 2 coats of the bronze, and it's such a cool colour, but you'll see in a second what it looks like. And as I haven't actually mentioned that I base coat any place I'm going to put my metallics, I base coat that with black, because it just helps the metallic have a deeper, richer colour. Because white, it's hard to explain, white has more of a luminous quality to it, and that can shine up through paint, and you want that when, say, you have a yellow, and you want the light to filter just the yellow light through to make that yellow colour even more brighter. But for metallics it just doesn't work that way. It kind of makes them look a little washed out. So I use black and I find it makes the colour just that much more rich. I'm putting a second layer of copper here on, just like I did with the silver. And so I find that step of priming with black very important. And it also helps with any parts that you miss and the cracks and the edges. It just helps with that shadow. And also just ties everything together a lot nicer. So the colour on the model looks really beautiful, nice and rich. Bit too bright for my taste. As you can see here, the finished model, I have already washed over the bronze colour with a brown wash, and I've washed over the silver with a black wash, and that has really brought it to life a little bit, dulled it down in areas where it would be worn, tarnished, etc. And it just still looks very metallic. It looks nice and old and worn. And next I will be adding my kind of weathering effects, I guess you could say, like rust and kind of areas that would be rubbing and things like that. So that's what I'll be showing in my next video. So stay tuned. Thanks very much for watching. If you liked this video, please hit the like button so I know you did. Share with your friends. And keep watching for the next part of the series. Okay, thank you. Bye. So, yeah, I already had blocked in the colours for the teeth, and I've kind of made it like a dirty browny yellow kind of colour. So what I'm going to do basically is make each layer is going to be lighter than the last one. So I'll show you what I'm going to do to start once I get Gut Rotten in frame. There we go. So basically I've already got that base color down and it looks